Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Good to be with you today. It's a beautiful day here. I hope it is where you are. But even if the weather is lousy, God is still there. That makes it a beautiful day. I'd like to share with you a passage from the little book of Ecclesiastes. Now, many folks don't read that book, or they have once in their lives and they moved on. So I want to read a little summary here before I read the passage. It says, Ecclesiastes portrays a sobering picture of life. We don't get to pick our looks, our parents, our IQ, our temperament, our birthplace, or our relatives. In the world, we see people randomly slotted into wealth or poverty, disease or good health. And our basic question is, who, if anybody, is in charge here? We know with certainty that it's not us. And yet we're innately driven to search for happiness, fulfillment, and belonging. Each day we dress and leave our home to pursue a greater sense of fulfillment. At school, work, or even the gym. How do we come to terms with the collision between our basic needs and to be known in the world's vast array of impediments to that dream? Who was our teacher in these essential matters? Well, that's what Ecclesiastes is about. About teaching about everyday life. Teaching what we should do, how to do it, and some of what we shouldn't do. So having said that, now let me read Ecclesiastes Chapter 4 and verses 7 through 10. I observed yet another example of something meaningless under the sun. Well, let me stop right there. People don't talk about that way today. But maybe we should. He says, I observed another example of something meaningless. Something that isn't helpful. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's a waste of time. So what is this something that he observed? This is a case of a man who was all alone, without a child or brother, yet who works hard to gain as much wealth as he can. But then ask himself, who am I working for? Why am I giving up so much pleasure now? It's all so meaningless and depressing. Well, I'll stop there again. It says, here's a man who has no connections to anybody else. And he spends his time accumulating wealth. Well, there's nothing wrong with accumulating wealth. I mean, I never did it, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. It's not the wealth that's the issue. It's what you do with it that matters. So he says, I watched this guy do this. And it led to meaningless. Why is he working so hard? For whom? For what? To have a big bank account? To have a good stock portfolio? You know, it's been said, that's not my original thought, but we come into this world with nothing, and we go out of this world with nothing in terms of material possessions. It doesn't matter how much you have when it comes time to leave this place. So then here's his solution. Here's the writer of Ecclesiastes, his solution to this meaninglessness of doing it all by yourself. Two people are better than one, for they help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated. But two could stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better. For the triple braided cord is not easily broken. I like that part about, if you fall alone, what are you going to do? I remember it's been a couple of years now, I slipped on the ice and I ended up tearing my rotator cuff in my left shoulder. And I was there lying on the snow and trying to think, okay, and I need to get up, and I couldn't. So I'm looking around, trying to figure out, now what do I do? I'm by myself. I suppose I could wait here until somebody comes to find me, but that didn't sound like a good option. Besides, it was cold, and I'm lying in the snow. So I saw this tree about 6 feet away, and I tried to get over to the tree, but I wasn't successful. So then I thought, okay, if I roll myself, maybe I can get to the tree, and then I can grab the tree with my right arm and get up. And I did. But if there'd been no tree, or I couldn't have rolled, I'd have been there until someone showed up. And lots of people, particularly those who live alone and are elderly, are very concerned about that. And it's a real concern. So the writer to Ecclesiastes says, 2 are better than 1. I have a lot of ideas. I tell my church all the time, I got another crazy idea. And that's really what I mean. It's a crazy idea. I don't know whether it's any good or not. But I've always believed, and I think I've always been proven correct, if I have an idea and I throw it out to some others, together we'll come up with even a better idea. See, I don't have everything that's needed contained within me. I need someone else and others to live the life and accomplish the things that God wants me to do. And if you're in a good marriage, you know the difference between being married and being single. Now, unfortunately, if you're in a bad marriage, that's a whole different ballgame. And I was in one for a lot of years. I personally have experienced the difference between the two. But then it goes on to say that this is really great, but a triple braided cord is even better. And it's not easily broken. What's the third cord? Is it another person? That doesn't fit, not the context of what's being said here. What's the other cord? And I would suggest that the other cord is God. When we wrap around ourselves with others, and we allow God to intermingle into that wrapping, we will form a bond that is not easily broken. When I have struggles and I have people who are friends and caring, they join me in praying for those struggles. I'm not alone. I'm not trying to figure it out by myself. And then when we allow God to be in the midst of that, we're able to see Him at work in ways otherwise we'd never find. And I think that's how God wants us to live. Will you think about it? Think about your own life. If that doesn't describe you, well, it could. So, change it. It's really that simple. Just complicated. Well, thanks for listening. If you have a prayer concern or a need, let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet those needs. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.